Hello everybody, we currently have a little bit of a situation happening in the Gulf of Mexico, just off the coast of Mississippi, Louisiana, and the Florida Panhandle. I just got my #1 engine fired up, and we are gonna get underway for an emergency recon session going on. So once that our #1 engine is completely fired up, we are going to get ourselves underway as quickly as humanly possible. Okay, we are taxiing to our runway here in a hurry. The most recent bulletin by the National Hurricane Center has just upgraded Hurricane Sally into a Category 2 hurricane. On the most recent bulletin, maximum sustained winds are holding steady at 100 miles per hour. That is 11 miles per hour of a Category 3 hurricane. And it is currently moving west and northwest at a very slow 6 miles per hour. And judging by the current shape and just kind of overall look of the track, the movement of the storm is going to slow down as it approaches land, and it could make landfall anywhere in southern Mississippi, all the way towards the coastal Alabama area. There's already some major flooding in some coast cities in Mississippi. Storm surge in that area is expected to be 3 feet or higher. And right now we are doing some emergency recon work for the National Hurricane Center for Hurricane Sally. Sally just reached hurricane status yesterday, I think. And it's not going to be the strongest hurricane ever to reach or to make landfall in this area. But the overall kind of growth of the hurricane and the speed, essentially, as it makes over a 90-degree about face in its course. It's going, as I said before in the bulletin, it is currently moving west-northwest right now. After the hurricane makes landfall and it gets caught in the northeasterly winds, it is basically going to be going east and northeast as it transitions from a hurricane into a tropical storm and then into a tropical depression, and that complete probably 110-ish degree change in its direction is really going to slow it down. And that is probably going to be the most dangerous part of this hurricane. It's not going to be the winds. There's been much more dangerous hurricanes as far as wind speed is concerned. Hurricane Michael immediately comes to mind. Even Hurricane Laura, just a few weeks ago, had much stronger wind speeds. This hurricane has some potential to get to 110 mile per hour sustained winds, which is still below the 111 mile per hour threshold to become a major Category 3 hurricane. So it will most likely still reach land as a Category 2, very strong Category 2, but right now we are at 100 mile per hour sustained winds, and we need to do some emergency recon work. So we are going to need to do some emergency recon work, and so we can get a much more accurate reading as to what exactly the storm is going to do in the next 24 hours.
Alpha, Niner, you are not cleared to take off.
Currently, the outermost arms of this hurricane are over the western coast of Florida right now. We're gonna be climbing in an elevation as quickly as possible. Bring our flaps back up as quickly as possible, and we're gonna try to go over the main core of the hurricane. It doesn't have a distinct eye yet, but based off of the current infrared satellite imagery, it is trying as hard as it possibly can to completely wrap around that center part of the storm and create a distinctive eye. So right now we are going to drop some drop spawns into the center part of the hurricane. We have to do that from a much higher altitude, and then once we get those dropped, we are gonna lower ourselves down to 10,000 feet, flight level 100, and we are going to go right back into the thick of it, and so we can get some accurate wind speed and direction data, as well as barometric pressure data, so we can really get a sense of what this storm is going to do here within the next 24 hours, because it, just judging by the recent bulletin by the National Hurricane Center, it should be basically right on the coast tomorrow afternoon, less than 24 hours from now, making landfall. As far as the course we're going to take to get there, right now I'm thinking we kind of just follow the western coast of Florida over to the Panhandle. And right now the hurricane is basically right at the very western portion of the Panhandle where it meets the coastal regions of Alabama. So I feel like that will probably be the safest bet. Looks like we have some icing happening in there.
Landing gear. 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 Landing gear.
We just had some very strong icing action as we were going through the clouds in the upper atmosphere.
Landing gear.
Just had some strong ice action. Whew! I've never really experienced that ice action in this game. I've seen it, but it never happened to me. I think we're looking pretty good right now, though. A little bit still on the wind, but it's off the windscreen, it's off the engines, and we still have lift right now. So that is good. We just need to get above these goddamn clouds. I'm gonna do a little bit of a 45-degree turn here, 40-degree turn, 50-degree turn, I suppose. Alright, looks like we are just getting above that thick layer of clouds. I'm gonna keep on climbing. And then we will kind of update you on what's going on once we are up to our correct altitude. Okay, we are currently at a cruising altitude and cruising velocity at about 248 knots indicated airspeed, 478 knots through the air right now, 479 knots across the ground. Currently going northwest at 310 degrees. We are probably just about to headed due west as we approach the main area of the Florida Panhandle, which we will follow all the way to the coastal areas of Alabama, where we will do our best to find the north-south line through the core of Hurricane Sally. Once we find that, we're going to go due south and drop a few drop spawn sensors to pick up some hurricane data that way, and then we will lower our altitude and we will fly directly in to Hurricane Sally, where we will pick up wind speed, barometric pressure, and all that good stuff. So we still have quite a bit of recon flight left to go, and we'll just kind of fast forward our way up to where we will directly intercept Hurricane Sally. Okay, we are lined up pretty close on a north to south trajectory. It's not completely north to south, but it's going to be close enough for getting our drop sounds dropped where we want to. We are moments away from dropping off our first one, and boy, that icing really looks good from our ascent through the moist clouds of the storm as we're climbing up there. As you can see, we are lined up pretty good with what appears to be the thick of Hurricane Sally, and just basing off of this radar image and all the colors in it and whatnot, you can definitely tell it is a lot more intense than how the radar looked with Tropical Storm Pilot from episode 1. So I think very shortly We will release our first drop spawn, and then we will do one more once we get into that purple region, and then one or two more as we get closer to the center of the hurricane. And our first drop sound is released. Whoa. And we will not really know the results that the drop signs gather, because those are transmitted by satellite to the National Hurricane Center directly, and we don't really get that information sent back to our aircraft. Our direct recon we will, but not the drop signs. Drop sound number 2 has been released. And then once we get more kind of right here in the middle, we're gonna drop a couple of more. So 4 drop songs have been released, which is all the National Hurricane Center is asking from us at the moment. We have passed the core of Hurricane Sally, so right now we are going to continue on the current trajectory that we're on right now, and then we are going to kind of loop around counterclockwise, drop our altitude to 10,000 feet, and then we were going to punch through the thick of this again, kind of at a northwest angle, and then we will get some direct data from the thick of this right here. So once we kind of get out of this, we'll loop around, descend down to 10,000 feet, and then we'll go through it again.
Overspeed. Overspeed.
Okay, we are at our recon speed and the altitude. We are going 366 knots, true airspeed. And we are at about 10,000 feet, which is where we will do our hurricane run right through the core of this thing. And our instruments are going to record wind speed, pressure, overall direction of the storm, and all that good stuff. So right now, as you can see, our visibility is completely non-existent. Luckily for the radar, we can still kind of see where we're going and where the weather is in front of us, and all right now it's just a matter of punching through this thing.